It's day 49 of the Zombie Hunter build. So yesterday what I did was I worked on the license plate bracket in the back and just attached all the little pieces that I needed to attach. So here's what it looks like. So I did the front and rear license plates. So you can see it's a 5-bar tread plate, and it's just mounted into the hitch. So that's that. So the rear of the truck looks like this. Pretty good. I still have to work on this. So today what I'm going to do is I'm going to build this little bracket here. So I got to weld up a little bracket to secure this to the bumper, similar to this one. I have the old one, but it's super thick, and what it does is it attaches to this part, and I'm trying to avoid that because it rusted out in every single truck. I've had two 460 G-wagons and they all rusted out in the same spot. And what ended up happening was this came loose. This was flapping all over the place because it ended up breaking off of this. So to avoid that, I'm just going to mount it to this. So this will be carrying most of the weight. You know, these two pieces will be carrying the weight, but it'll be evenly distributed, and it won't just all be on the body. All right, because this metal is relatively thin compared to that. All right, front of the truck. So you can see I have the tread plate installed. Everything's installed, so it looks pretty tough. All right, here's my simple setup for my license plate in the front, and all it is just a little stainless steel bracket holding that in place. All right, so now what I have to do, like I said, is figure out a way to mount this here. So I'm gonna have to, I use some steel bar that I have, some flat bar, and I'll just make a little bracket here to hold this in place. I gotta figure out what the diameter of this is, and then I'll just drill out a hole in the top. And pretty simple, I think. Well, I hope. So that's the plan for today. I got a couple hours that I can work on this and you know, try to crank it out. My garage is a mess still, but I'll just work on it here. And this pallet came in pretty handy. It's my makeshift workbench that I'm hoping, if anyone's interested in buying my 16-inch steel wheels with the 35s on there, I'll make me an offer. I'll sell them to you for cheap, and we can work out shipping. I already have the pallet to ship them on. All right, so let's start working on that that bracket. Get it all put in place. I'll remove that section and then weld it in today, hopefully. If not, at least I'll be able to you know, make the bracket itself. Hopefully it'll fit. So I originally bought this square tubing that I planned on creating the bracket with. You know, just cutting off a little section like this, and then just welding that to the bumper. Maybe making another plate or something. I don't know. But I originally planned on using this. But this is only was it 1/16? So 1/16 inch square tubing. So it's pretty thin. You know, I mean, it's not super thin, but looking at what Mercedes originally designed, and you can see, like, it's, I don't even know, maybe a 1/4 inch thick steel plate that they make that bracket out of. So there must be a lot of weight, a lot of stress on that, especially when I put the big 35-inch tire on there on the steel wheel. I mean, I have probably 100 and something pounds hanging off the back of that. And that's one reason why I didn't want to have it on the body over there, because the sheet metal's thinner, and I didn't reinforce it like the original one was. So I'm worried that it would just pull out the whole rear corner of my fender. So instead, I have this 3/16 flat bar. So I'm going to use this instead. And I think if I cut this and you know, weld up a little bracket with this, it's going to be stronger. You know, at least I'll have more faith that it'll hold up a lot better. Because you can just look at the difference in the two. It's obviously significant. Alright, so the 3/4 inch drill bit is still a little too small. I don't know if it's an odd size, so it won't fit exactly. So what I'm doing is I'm putting these in here, and then I'm just using my Dremel to widen up and open up the hole a little bit. And then from there, I'm just going to smooth it out with this end, and what you end up getting is, you know, pretty close to a perfect fit. So they're all going to be a little bit off because it's not exact anymore, but it doesn't matter because that's going to be put in there, and then there's going to be a big nut cranking down and holding it in place. Alright, so I still have a lot of bump material left over from that bumper that I cannibalized. And it's close to the same thickness as this tire carrier as well. There's certain spots that are this thick, like for example where the tire actually sits. It seems to be the same thickness. These posts maybe, but the handle here is slightly thinner. But it's bent in the exact location it needs to be bent in, and I'm just going to, I cut off a little piece like that, and I'm going to weld this in to reinforce this this section right here. And once I weld that in nicely, and then I'll grind it down, you know, smooth it all out, and then it should be strong. And then it's a matter of sanding everything down and spraying primer on it, and then it's ready for, you know, a final coat of textured spray. The only reason I'm doing the textured spray is because there are small imperfections in the bumper as well, and I want it also to match the winch bumper that I have in the front, which is a textured powder coat. Alright, so here it is all welded together. Added the new metal to it, so now it seems extremely solid. It's not bending, or, you know, there's no risk of it breaking off now. But let's see what it looks like on the truck. Alright, so this is going to go in like this. Now you can see, there we go. Nice and solid. So here's what the little mount looks like. So just like a little cube. And now I'm just going to clamp it in place, lift the carrier out of there, and drill another hole going through the top of the bumper so I can put a bolt going through there. Alright, so here's my spare tire carrier, and here is the bracket that I made. So both of those are covered in Pour 15 right now. I'm going to let that dry overnight. Once that's dry, I'll come down here in the morning, spray everything with flat black, and then mount everything onto the vehicle.